So F1 25 just got announced today, or rather at the time you guys are seeing this, yesterday. There was a reveal for the cover stars. Lewis Hamilton is the special edition cover star. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz, Oscar Piastri, and Oliver Behrman are for the standard edition of the game. So it's the cover arts or the cover stars, very, very interesting. They've gone away with the usual Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, and they have now opted for McLaren, Williams, and Haas, which I think is an interesting way of going about it. And also having Lewis as the cover star for the special edition of F1 25 makes a lot of sense, in a way, I guess. I mean, it's not like he hasn't been on the cover. He's been on the cover pretty much almost every single F1 game since Codemasters took over the F1 licensing, or rather, ever since F1 2015. And he's pretty much been there for the past, 10 years. So maybe this is kind of a nod to him for sticking around for the past decade and making him the new cover star. But today we're not talking about the trailer, but today we're not talking about the cover stars, not talking about the trailer and all that sort of stuff. Instead, we're going to be taking a look at this, the EA Sports F1 25 news article, which is a new chapter awaits in EA Sports F1 25, which I'm pretty sure they used this exact same wording for F1 24, 23, 22, and so on and so forth. Pretty much ever since F1 2021, if I had to remember. We can watch the reveal trailer, but I've seen it. As per usual, it looks good, but is the gameplay good? That's the main question. And Formula One celebrating its 75th anniversary, and they're reflecting the real world sports biggest driver lineup change in years, featuring 6 rookie drivers in the landmark move of 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, who makes the unprecedented switch from Mercedes to Ferrari, which is actually pretty cool. That I think that's the main reason why they're doing it. And also for the 75th anniversary, it's kind of hilarious how F1 has 6 rookies. We got 6 rookies in a season again. I think the most that we've had in recent time was 3 or 4, I believe. I can't remember what year it was, but I remember there was quite a bit of rookies. I think it was 2019 that I'm remembering, I think. Because that's when it had Gasly, Albon, Norris, and Russell. Yeah, that was the latest. That was the most that F1 had at the time. But now we have 6 rookie drivers, which is actually pretty fucking cool. And for the iconic edition of F1, like I said before, Lewis is the cover art of that. There's a couple things to get into. We have this section, the blockbuster action at every turn, which talks about Breaking Point. It makes its 3rd iteration from F1 23. I did not finish that Breaking Point mode, or story rather. I didn't finish Breaking Point 2. And in all honesty, I really don't have a desire to go and finish Breaking Point 2 because I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of Breaking Point, but that's also just me. I do understand the point behind it, and I get the fact that EA wants to have a story mode and all this sort of stuff, but they kind of do it in odd years. And the reason why I don't really care that much about it is because they do the Breaking Point mode for a year, which also makes the gameplay fun because they're focusing all their attention onto that. And then the next F1 game, they literally just shit the bed on it. And then the next F1 game after that, because there's a Breaking Point mode, then the gameplay is fun. The game is fun because they focus so much attention on it. And then the next one's shitty. So I just get the feeling that this one's going to be the exact same thing, where they focus all their attention on the story mode, and because of it, they focused a lot on the driving model and all the cutscenes and stuff like that. And I genuinely think that EA is just trying to tell us to not play in even number of years for F1 games, because something tells me that F1 25 is going to end up like F1 23 in a lot of ways, with how the game feels when racing on a wheel or a controller and all this sort of stuff. Because from F1 2020 to 2021, there wasn't that big of a change. And then from 2021 to 22, a huge change in the way the car handled. And then from 22 to 23, the driving model was way more smoothed out from that point. And then you go from 23 to 24, And then the driving model just doesn't make any sense. So I just get the feeling that 24 to 25 now, the driving model is going to be better because they did it in F1 23 and 22 suffered because of it, and 24 suffered because of it as well. So that's just kind of my take on it. I could be wrong, and in all honesty, maybe I am wrong, and maybe it just sucks, but who the fuck knows? But yeah, hot off the heels of the 2023 season under new ownership, the familiar faces of Kelly Mayer, Aiden Jackson, and of course David Butler make their return. However, with a dramatic event threatening to derail their title aspirations, will you have what it takes to steer the team to championship glory? I don't know what happened at the end of Breaking Point 2. Let me know if you guys actually want me to finish off Breaking Point 2, because I mean I might, just to see like what happened or whatever. And then they have a rebalance difficulty options that cater to new and veteran players. Decisions you make will have an impact on how this thrilling chapter unfolds. So it seems like it's gonna pretty much end up being like Breaking Point 1, Breaking Point 2, where whatever decision you make is gonna decide an outcome that's completely different from the other decision that was there. So yeah, I mean, and I like the rebalance difficulty option because in F1 2021 and F1 23 with the Breaking Point 1 and 2, it really didn't feel like there was that much difficulty with it. And in all honesty, going from that and then going into the My Team mode, it was just like there was more of there was something there with the My Team, because you kind of just got used to the game with Breaking Point. And then My Team was way more difficult because the difficulty varied a hell of a lot more. Which kudos to them, but at the same time it's like this difficulty option should have been rebalanced from Breaking Point 1 to 2. We shouldn't have had to wait this long for it, but whatever. We finally get it. And that's not all. On track drama ramps up with F1 the movie, which is Hollywood's summer action film with the APX GP team being playable across My Team and driver career, and a number of post-launch gameplay chapters inspired by the film. So it seems like, I think maybe before the movie even comes out, we're gonna play some sequences from that, which actually I kind of like. I like the fact that we might be able to experience that. I actually think that'd be pretty fucking cool if that was possible. Just like the scenario modes, pretty much, or like the career thing they were doing with like trying to predict how like the end of the 2024 season would go. And having us try to change the outcome and still having us trying to like come out on top or whatever and kind of thing. So maybe it'll be like that, and it'd be pretty cool if it was, but just maybe not like that, but like have a mode specific for that, because I really don't want to have to finish Breaking Point 2 in order to access like the APX GP team. You know what I mean? And then this one caught my eye the most. My Team and circuit upgrades. So if y'all don't know, for the past like 5 years, I have been like huge on F1 My Team. However, a lot of you guys can agree with me when I say this, and pretty much a lot of content creators can agree when I say this. F1 My Team hasn't been touched pretty much since 2021, when all they did was like tweak a couple things and then send the game out on its way. Like, yeah, it looked different from 2020 to 2021. Just from when you compare the two, it did look a little bit different, but there wasn't that much of a difference. And then it stayed the same for 2022. It stayed the same for 23, and it was just kind of like, well, what now? You know? So like, when F1 24 came out, the main focus for that game was the career mode, and nobody touched My Team as far as I'm aware in F1 24. Like, content creation wise, I haven't touched the My Team mode, but also I rarely, if ever, have touched F1 24, and I somehow barely have like 100 hours on it. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me, but I do. So yeah, in all honesty, I was thinking that My Team wasn't actually going to get anything for like years, because it took them from 2016 to 2024, not really actually, it took them from like 2018 to 2024 to change something about the career mode, and they never did it. until F124. So I was under the impression they were about to do the exact same shit again, and they were just gonna make minor changes to F125's career. But no, we have my team changes. Speaking of my team, the popular mode receives its biggest overhaul since it was introduced in F1 2020, challenging you to call the shots as the owner of your F1 team, which is what we usually do, and take on new responsibilities before getting behind the wheel as either of the team's drivers. That's actually really interesting, because from just reading this, and maybe I'm the crazy one, but something tells me we can either be a team owner and driver, or we can be a team owner and have 2 drivers race for us, and we don't have to race. So if that's a feature, that would actually be really cool, because that would be reminiscent of F1 Manager, where when they added the My Team for that, you could, or not rather you could, because you couldn't. You're supposed to be a manager and all that sort of stuff, but you can manage your own team, which was actually pretty cool that they ended up doing that. So if it's from the sounds of it, we might actually be getting that. So that's actually pretty cool. And just from this already, it looks like that there's so much more added to this, and I would have to believe that this is like I don't want to say a cardboard cutout of this, but I'd have to imagine that they use like not the actual material, and they kind of just like painted it on something that's like not expensive or whatever to lift it up there, because I don't think however hundreds of thousands of pounds of that race car, maybe not hundreds of thousands, but like thousands of pounds of a race car could dangle up here by just these thin ass fucking wires. I don't think it will be able to, but that would actually be pretty cool. And then on track, F125 continues to innovate through the power of its Ego engine, unlocking increased circuit authenticity made possible through LiDAR technology. I think I pronounced that correctly. Some tracks and their surroundings are transformed with a more realistic look and feel. So if that's the case, it'll actually be really, really fun. Then they show kind of like a little image of like Australia and like using the LiDAR technology for this. And obviously we could pre-order it and all this sort of stuff. If we pre-order the Iconic Edition, you get up to 3 days early access. For the regular version, it's just regular and all this sort of stuff. Not a big deal. But there is more to this, actually. So F125 is only going to be for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One users will not be able to play F125. It even says down right here, loyalty offer not available on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It does talk about, actually no, it doesn't talk about, I thought for a second it like talks about it up here or whatever, but yeah, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, they're not getting F125. So from the sounds of it, they're moving away from the older generation of consoles, and they're actually going to put all their attention into the new consoles, and they might not be held back as much anymore. Because I feel like that was one of the things that a lot of us can agree with, is that F1 was really the F1 games rather, were being held back so much because of the last gen consoles. And I get it, people don't have the money to like buy the new console and all that sort of stuff because the insane fucking price ranges that they're at nowadays. But also like, they have the console, the game's still being released for their console. That's what they want, that's what they get. And in the end, it all works out for them. And it seems like this is going to be the first game where it's going to move away from the Xbox One and PS4 for the first time since F1 2015. Oddly enough, I find it funny how 10 years ago was the first F1 game on the original, or on at the time's new generation of consoles, the PS4 and the Xbox One and PC. And 10 years later, it's on the it's only for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. And obviously, if you own F123 or F124 on either the consoles or whatever, you get a 15% pre-order loyalty discount off the Iconic Edition. So, you know what your boy's buying. Because I kind of want that 3 days early access, because I'm a fucking stickler for this shit. I'm a stickler for early access to games that I never got to play like at launch a lot of the time as a kid, so I want to be able to experience that. But there is more to this, and that is when we go up to the features tab of this. So obviously this story is yours. Don't know about that. And then leave your mark on the world of racing in F125, featuring a revamped My Team mode in the thrilling third chapter of Breaking Point. And then it shows off a couple things here for Breaking Point. Connor Sports' legacy is on the line as Chaos strikes. Can they fight for the title? And then they have a little thing up here that says never stop. And then here for right underneath this F125 features is the My Team section. And this is what it reads. And this caught my eye. Live your F1 story in My Team with its biggest update yet. Manage both drivers, specialists with owner perks, and build your team's fan rating. Upgrade your team HQ, balance spending, and negotiate contracts all while racing towards glory. So, we can now upgrade our team HQ instead of just upgrading the departments, like the aerodynamics department, the powertrain department, the durability department, personnel, the marketing, and the other one. It was aero, chassis, power, durability, personnel, marketing. Okay, so I just named off all 6 right there. But now we're actually going to have a fan rating with the team now. And it seems like we can, from this, manage both drivers. My guess is, just by it saying this, I get the feeling that there might be 2 options with My Team. Whether they're going to be a team owner and we're going to have 2 drivers that race for us, and we're going to have another mode where we are the team owner and we have a teammate with us, which would be pretty fucking cool if you ask me. And then here's the LiDAR thing, which is more circuits have been authentically recreated using LiDAR technology, making both the track and surroundings look and feel more realistic. I also think the reason why they've decided to do this a hell of a lot more for the tracks and stuff, or for more of the circuits, is because of the fact that they're moving away from the old generation of consoles, because they were focusing, because they had to balance the new and old generation of consoles, and I get the feeling that they weren't really able to fully utilize the LiDAR technology that they've apparently been using for a while, because of the difference between the new consoles and the older consoles. And you can kind of make an argument that well, PC could still get it, and it's like, well, PC can still get it, but that's just PC, you know what I mean? And they want this game to sell for everything, so them having this for every console is going to be great. And obviously more features to be revealed in April, so we got to stay tuned for further updates. And obviously the Iconic Edition, I mean, Lewis Hamilton is iconic and probably will forever be, because in all honesty, I can't think of a single driver that would be able to match his level that he has reached in any capacity. In all honesty, I thought Max would do it, and I don't even know if he's like I think he's like past the halfway point, but whatever that Red Bull's at right now, not good. And there was a couple things that I wanted to mention. So down here, it just has the EA Sports Codemasters F1 and then F2 down here. However, there was something about another mode being added into this. So I ended up finding this little pre-purchase F125 to receive the following over on Steam. So I ended up taking a screenshot of it. So it talks about the standard and the Iconic Edition. So you obviously get the full game when you get both. The pick coin, you get 5,000 for standard, 18,000 for the Iconic. There's an F1 World Starter Pack with 10,000 cash and plus F1 World resources. So you get that for the standard, but not for Iconic. However, there's an F1 World Bumper Pack that you do get for Iconic, which is 50,000 cash, 7-day XP boost, unique upgrade cards, and then F1 World resources as well for that. Both editions get the F175 Celebration livery suit and gloves. The Iconic Edition gets a 3-day early access. They also get the Lewis Hamilton Iconic Pack. They get a Lewis Hamilton F1 World event in F124. You get a collection of 2025 season liveries for the time trial mode in F124. And then obviously, down here is a bit interesting. 1 month F1 TV Pro subscription for USA only. So yay for me if I end up getting it. But the one above it caught my eye the most. F3 driver icons. So it doesn't mention in the news article itself about F3 being in there, like at the bottom. It only just mentions F1 and 2. But we're getting F3 driver icons. So for the first time in F1 gaming history, F3 is making an appearance. And it's, in all honesty, I think it would be cool if there was like an entire like F3 section that we can have for F125. I think it'd be really fucking cool. I would say this: F4, F3, F2, F1. If we had all 4 fucking series, that would be fantastic. I get it. We all don't kind of focus on like F2 as much as we do, or as much as like we want to or whatever. But just seeing F3 driver icons, they're only icons. So it doesn't seem like, from the sounds of it, or just by reading this, that it's going to be like its own series or whatever. Hopefully I'm wrong on that. And maybe in April, when we come back to this, there'll be more being said about it. But yeah, just like this F1 or this F3 driver icons, my guess is I don't know, because I get the feeling that they're probably going to be for my team. But this is also the first time that there is not going to be a single F1 driver icon for my team, because they did 2 more for F124. It was like Juan Pablo Montoya and someone else. And this is the first time that it's F3 and not F2. So that's one of the things that is interesting to me, is that we're actually getting F3 for the first time in F1 history. And this is also, I think, like 6-7 years on from F2's introduction back in F1 2019. So I think EA is kind of actually giving us F3 slowly. And I think with these driver icons, whoever they may be, is actually going to be pretty interesting. So I will say this, though, even though it's like very early doors and all that sort of stuff, I am pretty excited for F1 25, oddly enough. I didn't really know how to feel about F1 24 before launch and all that sort of stuff, and in all honesty, like, the build up for it just wasn't my cup of tea. As a matter of fact, I had more fun playing F1 23 than I did F1 24. Even when F1 24 was out, I was just like, I just want to play F1 23, man. I don't want to play F1 24. And it's just because, like, I didn't like the way that it was being marketed and all that sort of stuff, but I do like the way that F1 25 is being marketed. I don't know why, because I think it's like almost the same thing, but maybe it's because there's more shit this time around than F1 24, because F1 24 was just mainly career mode, and I think it's like that was like the only thing it talked about. But one of the things that I really, really hope that F1 25 doesn't repeat that F1 24 does is remove content from the older F1 games and then put it into a, like, the pit pass or whatever the fuck that they've been having for like ever since F1 2020. I just hope that they don't take content out, throw it back in, and like relabel it as new content, because that's just scummy. They did that in, I know for a fact they did it in like F1 22, I think they did it in F1 22, 23, and in 24, because there's so much shit that I have seen before that they want to sell through like these pit coins and stuff like that, or it's through the pit pass or whatever the fuck. Podium pass, there we go, that they got, which is like F1's battle pass, even though I feel like F1 shouldn't have a battle pass, but to each their own. I guess EA is really just kind of being fucking stupid from the sounds of it, so, because they're trying to force all these microtransactions in, but it'll be fine, hopefully. But I mean, I will say that I really want them to not do that, because there's just no point in removing a lot of shit only to put it back in like the podium pass, or you have to go to the store to go find it. Because I just want everyone to know this right now, the classic P symbol that I use for the PepsiCo Racing Incorporated My Team is nowhere to be found in F1 24. Not in the game. It's not in, it wasn't with the game when it came out, and it's still not in the game, even through the fucking podium pass and through the store that you can buy it at. It's nowhere to be found. So I'm just hoping that they like add that stuff back in, because in all honesty, there wasn't a point in removing any of them, because it just feels scummy to remove it and then like re-release it within like a podium pass or whatever, and it's like you have to buy the podium pass in order to be able to get it, instead of just like playing the game for like and just getting it for free, which is, again, like I said, scummy. So hopefully they don't do that and they go in the direction of giving it back to us and then just kind of going about it like that. I don't know. I am excited though. I am excited that F1 or F125 is going back to the My Team aspect. I think F1's biggest like home run that it's had in the past like 5 years has been My Team. My Team has been the single greatest thing to come out of F1, and I will fight anybody to the death that says otherwise. I don't know, like I want this to be good. I've always wanted it to be good. There's really like no other way for me to kind of put it except I just want it to be fucking good. That's about it. I just want it to be good. I want to be able to have fun with it, and I don't want to waste my money getting pissed off with a game that I don't enjoy from the very beginning. But we'll see when we get there. But I do want to thank you guys all so much for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for some more. Hopefully you guys are okay with this. I don't know if anything changed for you guys, but I upped the resolution for my recording, and I have a widescreen monitor, so I'm kind of banking on it not fucking with the overall recording, and it actually looks fine for you guys. Let me know if you guys like it, and maybe I'll upgrade my equipment even more, including my monitors, because they can only be, or they cap out at 1080p or 1080 or 1920 by 1080. So I think this is also going to be the first video that I'm able to record in 4K. So if it gets F125 and I have a 4K monitor, whew, we're going to be good. I think that'd be actually pretty fucking cool if I ended up doing that. I don't know. I'm getting too ahead of myself. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good night, everybody. I love y'all, and goodbye.